There are special maps that are used extensively by military architects. Military, as you know, requires precise knowledge of direction because the operations that are carried out by the military requires precise knowledge of location and time. So these special maps that are used by military architects are also used by mining companies, hikers, or travelers. Now these special maps are generally used for a clear and thorough understanding of any particular geographical area. As you know, all of these mentioned here have to do a lot with regard to any geographical area. To work in these areas, they need to have a clear understanding of the different physical features present here. So, these special maps that are used extensively by all of them has a special name too. These special maps have a special name, as I just mentioned, and they are known as topographical maps. These topographical maps are a little different from the regular maps that we use on a regular basis. They are drawn on a relatively large scale. So, these topographical maps are an important geographical tool that are drawn on relatively large scale. So, they help us study any particular plot of geographical area in details. It gives us all the information about the different features that appear or that exist in that plot of area. Besides that, it is believed that these topographical maps represent the Earth's features quite accurately. So they give us a complete and accurate information regarding all the features that are present in any particular geographical area that is to be studied or that is to be worked on. So to define topographical maps, we could say that these maps are detailed, accurate, graphic representation of features that appear on the Earth's surface. So they'll not only point out the natural features that appear on the Earth's surface, but also other features like human settlements, railways, roads, valleys, and many other such things. So as I mentioned, they help us locate different features that appear on the Earth's surface. These features can be categorized under 4 headings, that is, cultural features, hydrographic features, relief, and vegetation. Now these cultural features refer to human settlements, roads, railways, airports, administrative boundaries, state and international boundaries, and reserves. So the cultural features help us understand the different places or the different things that are related to everyday life of people living in that particular area. On the other hand, we also have hydrographic features. Now these point out to the water bodies or wetlands. So the hydrographic features tells us about lakes, rivers, swamps, coastal plains that exist in that area. So if we take a look at this map, we see that here the blue line tells us about the river that exists in this area. Next we have relief. Now relief, as we know, talks about the physical features, the natural physical features that appear or that exist on the Earth's surface. These generally include mountains, valleys, plateaus, and other such reliefs. And finally, we have vegetation. So here we can see that a certain portion or a certain part of this area taken into account is colored green. Now this green color indicates a forested area. So vegetation helps us understand whether there is a presence of wooded and cleared area, vineyards and orchards. So, a topographical map helps us understand the presence of these features that appear or are present in any given geographical area. Now, let's try an experiment. Say I give you a piece of paper, as we can see on the screen, which has a blue background and curved green shapes. You instantly assume that the blue background indicates a sky and these curved green shapes indicates a hill or an elevated area, right? Now if I add some white oval shapes on the blue background, you instantly take them as clouds. Finally, I add a yellow circular shape on the same picture and you take it as sun. So, since we have grown up, we have been taught to assign certain colors to certain things. And these are generally accepted by all. So, sun, as we know, is yellow in color. So, we instantly assume that if there is a yellow shape on this blue background, then it definitely is a sun. Similarly, topographic maps also have certain standard colors that are assigned to respective features that are present on the Earth's surface. Let's take an example of this particular topographical map. We see that most of the area is colored yellow. Now, this yellow wash on the topographical map tells us that these are agriculturally rich areas, or these are fertile lands and are good for cultivation of crops. So, a yellow wash on the maps tells us that the area is agricultural land. So, before we proceed with our lesson, could you help me answer this question? What does a yellow wash on the topographical map indicate? Is it a barren land, an agricultural land, or a forested area? Yes, the correct answer is it indicates a agricultural land. So, a yellow wash on the topographical maps indicates that the area is fertile and could be used for cultivation of crops. Now, there are certain areas on this particular map that is white in color. Now, what does the white wash indicate? So, the white washed areas on the map tell us that the areas are a barren land. So, while most of the area is colored in yellow, that is, they are agriculturally rich, the certain portions colored in white tells us that these areas are barren lands or wastelands and they cannot be used for agricultural purpose. Now, there are certain features on the topographical map that have a brown color. So, the contour lines are imaginary lines that are drawn on a topographical map. You can see that a section of a topographical map has been shown here that shows us a lot of lines, these contour lines that are colored in brown. So, these contour lines are imaginary lines and they are drawn to join places that have a similar elevation. So, areas that have a similar elevation can be joined by drawing these imaginary lines called contour lines. So, contour lines are imaginary lines that join places having equal elevation and they are shown in brown color on a topographical map. So, while a topographical map shows contour lines like this, in real life or on actual ground on the Earth's surface, the contour lines indicate a cliff, a mountain, or any elevated area. Now, let us take a look at these images. We see that if we take a side view of a landmark, say a mountain, it may either have a steep slope or a gentle slope. As you can see, a steep slope has a higher summit or a higher peak, while a gentle slope does not have the same. While a steep slope rises more frequently, a gentle slope does not rise that quick. On a topographical map, this is shown as concentric contour lines. So, concentric contour lines indicates a peak. So for a steep slope, the concentric lines are closer to each other and they are drawn somewhat like this. While for a gentle slope, the contour lines are a little away or far away from each other, showing a gentle slope. So contour lines drawn close to each other shows a steep slope, and when they are drawn far apart from each other, they show a gentle slope or a lowland. So these are some of the features that help us understand a geographical area through a topographical map. So far we understood that the yellow washed areas indicates agricultural land, the white washed areas indicates barren land or wasteland. Brown lines on the topographic map indicates areas that are imaginary lines and are known as contour lines that join places having similar elevation. Now let us move on to another significant color, that is red. So human settlements or human developments are shown in red color. So settlements are usually found on plains and in valleys. Settlements, as you know, are easier and are more commonly found on plains and in valleys because of various conveniences. And these are generally indicated by a red color on the map. So if we take a look at this map here, we see that these areas that have red color or red blocks shows us settlements. So it indicates that there are human settlement here and people live here. Now these settlements can be categorized under three types. They can either be dispersed, nucleated or linear, right? So the three types of settlements that we usually see on a topographical map is dispersed, nucleated and linear. Now what does a dispersed settlement indicate? It shows an area where people live far away from each other. So the settlements are not close by, but they are dispersed and are distributed at a certain distance from each other. So on this map we can see that this area here shows the human settlements far away from each other. So this type of settlement indicates a dispersed settlement. On the other hand, we also have linear settlement that are usually found along metal roads or railway lines. Now on this map we can see that right here, where the settlements can be seen along the metal road, we can also find it here and here too. On the other hand, we also have nucleated settlements where all the people live close to each other and the settlements are not far away from each other. So they are nucleated, right? So this here area indicates a nucleated settlement and this too indicates a nucleated settlement. Now such settlements does not only help us understand the strength of the population here, but it also helps us understand that there are certain facilities available in these areas that leads to these nucleated, dispersed or linear settlements. Now these dispersed settlements here indicate that there are not enough facilities or resources available here, so people are living far away from each other. While these linear settlements tells us that the people have good access to transportation, so they can easily travel from one place to another. The nucleated settlements on the other hand tells us that there are availability of resources in these areas and so people have densely populated these areas. Now let us move on to another feature. We just saw that settlements are indicated by a red color. Even grid lines, car tracks and metal roads are indicated in red color. On this map we can see that these vertical and horizontal lines that forms small squares on the map indicates grid lines. And we also have car tracks. So these narrow thin lines moving across the map shows us car tracks. On the other hand, we also have metal roads. In this map we can see that there are parallel lines running across the map. These parallel lines indicates metal roads and also implies that these areas are developed. Let's move on to another important color on the topographical map, that is green. So large areas colored in green indicate forested areas, trees, scrubs and orchids. So in the given map we can see that a certain portion of the map is colored in green, which indicates that the region is either a forested area or there is presence of trees, scrubs and orchids. So you see how colors play a very important role in the topographical maps. Besides green, blue also plays a very important role as a color. So blue color shows us perennial water bodies in a given geographical area. So say this particular plot of area taken into account, here the blue portion indicates that there is a presence of a perennial water body. Now perennial water body means that this particular water body has a water supply throughout the year, which also implies that the region is very good for agriculture, as irrigation can be very easily done because of the presence of water 24/7. So this shows that the region is also fruitful or is also advantageous for any human settlement. Finally, we have the presence of latitudes and longitudes. So latitudes and longitudes are imaginary lines that run horizontally and vertically on any given map. Here in the topographical map, the latitudes and longitudes are drawn in black color, as you can see here. So here we have a 40-degree latitude and a 40-degree longitude. On the other hand, we also have certain areas that are bordered by thin black line. So the national, international boundaries, telephone lines, telegraph lines, survey trees are all shown in black color on a topographical map. So here in this portion of the map, we see that there are certain areas where we have presence of thin black line. This either indicates a telegraph or a telephone line or a state or national boundary. So we saw that colors and symbols play a very important role in the study of topographical maps. Now these colors and symbols are standard in nature. So they are conventional signs and symbols. Conventional signs and symbols only means that they have a certain standard. All the people are to follow a particular range of colors that indicate their respective features. This way, there is no confusion in studying the topographical maps, and people can easily locate different features on a given geographical area with the help of these maps. So in this lesson, we were able to understand the importance of topographical maps, and we understood what exactly a role they play in studying any area. In our next lesson, we'll be moving on with our discussion on the topographical maps, and we'll learn about some more important features of the same. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers, or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock test. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it is rewarding too. So register for free now.